All right. The doctor-patient approach in real estate. I want to break your mind for a moment. I want to challenge anything you might think today as Papa Coach comes in here and says, look, we got to change the way we think. Let's do some things different, and maybe it'll free you up to get some different results. Maybe we'll get some different results from this simple approach. So today, in today's coaching session, we're going to use this as an example. The doctor-patient approach in real estate. Number one, understanding the customer's symptoms, needs, pain points, and goals. You go to a listing appointment, you start, hopefully you're asking questions, right? What are some of the questions you're going to ask in a listing appointment? Somebody help me, back there.
Do you have a loan on it?
Good. You're going to ask, is there any financial attachments to this house? What else? What else are you going to ask?
What are you going to do after you sell?
Outstanding. What's the future look like for you after we get this process completed? What else?
Why do you want to sell?
Great. Why is it that we're even meeting here today to talk about the sale of your house?
What's the urgency?
Is there a sense of, do we need to do this by tomorrow? Do we need to do this by New Year's? You start sounding like a professional when I hear you ask these questions in that way. And maybe you're like that doctor and say, well, how long has it been like? How long have you been thinking about selling? That's what my doctor asked. How long have you had that pain? Right? Well, how long have you been thinking about this? Oh, nobody's ever asked me that. Actually, we've been thinking about it for a year, but we've been waiting for the interest rates to change. Oh. We'll get into that in just a moment. Let me keep asking you some questions. Because the moment you start answering their question, you're back to used car salesperson. You need to learn to shut your mouth longer, ask more questions. Don't give advice yet. A real doctor is going to ask everything. They're going to take your blood pressure. They're going to take your heart rate. They're going to look in your mouth. They're going to look in your ear. I'm not going to talk about the other places they're going to look. I'm just saying. They're going to be looking for problems. So before you answer the person's comment of the most expensive, valuable asset they will probably ever purchase in their life, be patient with your patient. Ask them more questions. How does your spouse feel about selling this house? Oh, I'm not married, I'm divorced. Okay, so we know that there's only one signature needed. I didn't have to go further than that. Okay, how about your kids? Do you have kids? How do they feel about selling this house? Oh, my kids are struggling with this one, Rebecca, because they grew up in this house. In fact, when you go to the kitchen, you're going to see the little crayon marks where they're growing and growing, right? Oh, man, I know that's going to be tough for them. What's important for them in their new house? Oh, well, Gabriel always said that he wanted a flat driveway because most of our driveways have been like in an angle because we want to put a basketball rim there. And because every time you do that on an angle, the ball goes into the street and then you lose the ball. Oh, okay. Well, it's important. So what's important, I think it was what you told me, we need to find a home that has a flat driveway because that's what Gabriel is going to want. And you want Gabriel to be happy in this process too, don't you? Yes. Okay, well, what other questions can I ask here? How does it feel to you to decide finally after 6 months that you want to sell this house? Honestly, Rome, I'm terrified. Because this is the first house I ever bought. I hadn't bought another house. This one doesn't have an HOA. I know my neighbors. We love our neighbors. They don't even know that we are selling this house. Oh, how would it make your neighbors feel? You see how Dr. Rome is just, let's do life together first. Because I'm about to ask you to give me the most valuable, expensive asset you'll ever purchase in your life. I'm about to ask you to give it to me. Because I am certainly going to win the listing. But before we do, let's do life together for a moment. Let's ask more questions. So you haven't told your neighbors yet. Okay, well, how are they going to feel about you leaving? I just gave you another listing, guys. I just gave you got, come on, rock star stuff. You got to, come on. Realtors rock kind of thing. I have a license to practice real estate. And because of my doctor approach, I'm asking about her mental health. I'm asking about her physical health. I'm asking about her financial health. I'm asking about her relational right? I'm asking all this. So would it be helpful if I go and talk to Andrea about this? Well, you know what? I never even thought about that. Then maybe you should. Okay. Okay, if you want me to. What's Andrea's phone number? Another listing. Maybe Andrea wants to move where you're moving, right? Maybe that's, so why? I can't get to that unless I took my time like a doctor takes his time. We're so rushed. We're so nervous. We're like, oh my gosh, I haven't had a listing appointment in eight months. And here we go. Oh, no. You have a license to practice real estate. You need to deliver a level of service that demonstrates professionalism and the highest level of commitment that you possibly can. That means you need to sit in that chair and ask them more questions. If you just did this, I come back 30 days in your life and it's better. If you just did what Papa Coach says, you just ask more questions in every conversation you have. Let's just say not even real estate related. You go to Starbucks. Mine's boring. I just black coffee. I don't even know all the names of all the things. Black coffee. So how long have you been working here? And of course mine's ready like now. Everybody else has got to wait, but mine they pour it right away. So how long have you been working here? Yeah. You like it? Yes. Do you like coffee? Well, no, I don't. You don't like coffee? And you work at Starbucks? Why? And then the person would say, well, I like the people here. Wow. So you're a people person? Yes. What else do you do? Oh, well, I'm going to school. Do you talk to people at school? Well, yes. Do you have good grades? You might be shocked. Do you have good grades? Well, could be better. Really? Is it because you're so good with people that you can't focus on your grades or your homework at home? And she goes, how do you know that? I said, oh, I'm a business coach and I'm trained to ask a whole bunch of questions. I didn't say that at all. I said, you know what? You should think about your major in becoming and doing something in your career that always puts you in the middle of people, because that's what you're gifted and talented at. She's like, coffee's on the house? I'm like, realtors rock, right? No, I'm just kidding. I had to pay for the coffee. But those are the questions that you ask. Where would that lead your relational giftedness? Where would that lead your conversation, right? Sometimes we feel confused. We're not clear. We're not confident. Why? Because we have never trained ourselves to ask more questions than give answers. Because if you just take my Starbucks theory right here, you won't be so unclear. You won't lack confidence because you're having conversations with everybody. The person at Starbucks, the person at HEB, the person who's shopping next to you. You know, well, why are you buying organic bananas? Are those better? And the woman will say, yes, they are. I'm like, well, why? I mean, can you taste the difference? She's like, yes, you can. I said, you can? I said, how? How does it taste different? And I don't know. I just can. They taste fresher. I said, okay, fresher. So you like fresh things? Now that sounds weird coming from a guy at a grocery store, right? But what am I doing? I am growing my heart knowledge. I am planting myself in a business that requires me to be excellent, right? Mastery level in communication, because I have a license to practice real estate, and I happen to help people with the most expensive asset they will ever purchase in their life. And so I take my role very seriously. I have to be exceptional. I have to be the very best at what I do, whether I'm communicating with you, or I'm communicating with them, or I'm communicating with somebody at Starbucks, or I'm communicating see, your best game comes in training, in practice. The San Antonio Spurs, the Houston Rockets, they don't get out there on the court and they play tonight thinking, okay, well, I haven't played in, like all month. What are you talking about? You're freaking playing every day. You're working out every day. You're eating the way your personal trainers, your coaches tell you to eat every day. The reason you're able to perform for those quarters is because you did it while you were training. You prepared yourself to train. If I told all of you, said, ladies, gentlemen, I am going to run a marathon tomorrow, 27 miles. And I'm going to tell you something. you know, you already figured out I'm a no quit kind of person. I'm going to try my guts out. And the answer to that statement is, you will see my guts, because I want to be throwing up at mile 3, right? Because I have not trained for the marathon. Doesn't matter how hard I try. The reason your real estate business isn't going anywhere is because you think trying harder is the answer. I'm just going to try harder. 27 miles, try. No, you're gonna be on the side of the road. You're gonna have cramps. It's gonna look bad. It's gonna be ugly. I mean, you're gonna have that, the ugly cry. Like, oh, Mama, come help me. It's gonna be terrible, because you have not trained. You have not trained. You have not trained. You have not trained. You have buried your real estate professionalism, and you have planted the seeds of a used car salesperson, and that's what grew. Because you're not cultivating a heart of knowledge, and you're not constantly working on your vocals, your words, and the way you speak, and the way you approach people, and the way you communicate, in order to grow a business that's respectable. Right? I'm not pointing anybody out. I'm speaking to the general population. Why? Because I know the general population. I've talked to a lot, maybe thousands now. The people are like, how does he know? Because the proof is in the statistics. Is there a shortage in patients? Are doctors struggling? Do you see doctors on Facebook? Hey, I'm Dr. John. I'm Dr. Rome. If your heart doesn't feel so good, they call Dr. Rome at hashtag love you. That would be stupid. I'm like, what in the world am I going to stupid doctor that's posting on Facebook? That?
Could you do that same scenario with a buyer?
Oh, absolutely.
Can you?
Yes, let me get through this and we'll talk about the buyer, okay? Because that is absolutely true. Because I alluded to that with the Whataburger analogy earlier. Okay, asking the right questions to diagnose their real estate needs. You heard me do that, right? So we got to Andrea. I'm asking, hey, do you want me to reach out to your neighbor? While I'm reaching out to the neighbor, how's that neighbor going to feel about you? Oh, Kip? Oh, Kip's going to be bummed because my husband and him play golf every Friday. Oh, do you want me to reach out to Kip too? 3 listings and 1 listing appointment? Does that sound like a professional? Does that sound, I mean, if I just told you what I just told you, would you hire me to sell your house?
Yes.
Okay, I would want you to say the same thing. I want you to win the same way. I want you to win the same way. Okay, and you can do that. Did anything I do, did anything I say, is it something that I said or did that you can't do? No, it's easy. It's easy because I know how far 27 miles is. But it's hard because I got to make these legs run those. I got to do the hard work. Remember we talked about this? If you don't do what I'm telling you to do, you're just going to bury your real estate business. You're not going to overcome these challenges. Your personal care, those are great. The success, this only comes after you realize where you are and start doing some things differently to make you better. And then this is the reward at the end of the day. You can take care of your family. You can retire your parents. You can buy the house. You can make the upgrade. You can fix the problems. You know, money doesn't fix everything, but it fixes a lot of problems. Money doesn't solve everything, but it fixes a lot of problems. Okay, if that makes sense. All right, so you're asking a lot of questions. Providing number 3, providing a customized prescription. Okay, this is where we got to talk about how do we become the doctor-patient approach instead of the real estate approach. And so I'll go back to Rebecca. Rebecca, it sounds like your job is relocating you. Your child is a little bit distressed because she's about to go to the dance, and all of her friends are going to find out she's no longer going to be here, and they're going to be a mess. And you're not even really sure if you can afford the transition because interest rates keep doing this, and whatever you're watching on the news is so on and so forth. I would say, Rebecca, I would say, may I speak to the areas of concern that you have? What am I doing? May I speak to the areas of concerns that you have? What am I doing? Okay, I know you would say that. That's good. It's authentic. It's genuine.
Also hearing her, what, her thoughts, whatever she's thinking about.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Anybody else? May I speak to the areas of concern you have? Overcoming objections. She hasn't posted any objections yet.
Any suggestions?
Giving suggestions? Not yet. I haven't prescribed anything yet. My first question is, may I speak to the areas of concerns you have? This is very important.
Listen to her concerns so you can figure out the solutions.
Okay, that's what I did on number 2. That's what I asked all those questions about. So now I know her. I know about Andrea. I know about Kip. I know about all those things, the golf, the kids, the crayons. Remember those questions? May I speak into the areas of concern you have? If remember, I told you earlier, I made a promise. I'd like to keep them. If you just do the things I'm telling you, in 30 days, your life will be better. This is a very important question. May I speak into the areas of concerns you have? The reason I'm saying that is because I'm going to get my first yes from her. I would text yourself that question. May I speak into the areas of concerns you have? Because I am in, you're going to hate this, sales. Oh. You don't like to admit it, but you're in sales. You know what? Doctors are in sales too. They need to perform well, otherwise their patients go away. And financials, P&Ls, balance sheets, all are the same. No money coming in, no money to pay bills. Doctors are the same. They're in sales. They got to do well. This is the part where I need you to get to understand that this is okay. In order for me to get this listing, which I told you earlier, there is no way anybody else is getting this listing. I'm getting the listing, and I'm going to get 2 more on top of that. I'm going to get that because I'm going to get her in the habit of saying yes to me. The more I get her to say yes to me, the more likely when I say, hey, would you give me your home so that I can get it sold for you? She's going to say what? Because I got her used to saying yes. May I speak into the areas of concern you have? Because the doctor-patient approach is I want to address what is bothering you. I want to prescribe some things for you. So I want to prescribe this, and I've already prescribed 2 solutions. Would you like me to go across the street and talk to Andrea and let her know that you and I have had a conversation about the potential of you selling your home? She said yes. Would you like me to go over to Kip's house next door, where your husband's accustomed to playing golf with him, and have a conversation about him, about the reality that there is a day that might come, that meaning he won't be able to play golf with her husband anymore? She said yes. Do you mind if I speak into the areas of concern that you have? Yes. Man, she said yes to me 3 times. How in the world is she going to say no, that you can't have this listing? I'm going to go hire a RE/MAX agent? No way. No way. No way. Not only because I'm confident that I have that, but my heart knowledge is that, hey, this is a real human being. I took the time to be somebody that she needs in this process. Just like when you go to the doctor's office because you don't feel good. She's not feeling good about the sale of her house because it's scary. The interest rates are who knows what. We don't know if we're going to get what we think we're going to get for the house. You give her a CMA, it's going to be lower than what it is than she hoped for. Right? Is that true? So you give her a CMA. So everything, all these scary numbers and scary life-changing, these are life-changing events. How do we take that so lightly? You're licensed to practice real estate, just like he's licensed to practice medicine, licensed to practice law. You are licensed to practice real estate. It is a life-changing, altering event that you're speaking into. You better ask, do you mind if I speak into those areas of concerns that you have? And that also brings the humanity back in our profession. I realize she's just not a number. You're not just a paycheck. You're a person with a heart and a family, and I have a fiduciary responsibility to put your interest above mine. Wouldn't it make sense that we get to know each other? If it sounds simple, you tell me why there are tens of thousands of real estate agents that aren't doing this. They're going straight to the chase. They're going straight to the Here's what we do on marketing. Here's our Facebook. I'm not saying those aren't bad. I'm saying, but that's all. You're building your reputation on plastic information that just seems very trivial. And your plastic is no different than her plastic, right? You're like, well, she does social media too. She does social media. I mean, so how do I know what the difference is? True story. If you understand the gravity of this one, then it'll be very important. So I went to, we were going to a New Year's Eve ball or a dance or something like that. We were going to a party for New Year's, and my wife wanted to buy a dress, so we go to Dillard's. We go to Dillard's, and then as soon as we walk into the women's section, a nice salesperson comes up to me and she says, "May I help you?" And I look at her, I was like, "No, we're just looking for dresses." True, right? I mean, that's how you do it. You gotta look. You gotta move the racks back. You gotta touch. If you're my wife, you gotta touch everything. Like, I'm like, this could be. I need a chair because I'm like, my back's hurting, tired. Anyway, she's doing this. Okay, so she's now. We don't need any help. Thank you though. Really sweet, really nice. She goes out and she finds the dress, puts it on her arms. So I'm sitting in the chair. I start to see what she's carried. She's got like 3 or 4 dresses already. It's getting heavy. So I go over there, and good husband I am, I say, "Hey baby, you want me to carry that?" And she goes, "Okay, so I'll carry it." Now I got like 4, then 5, and 6. Holy cow, right? And so we get to 6 dresses. We spent 40 minutes on the floor. We walk to the entrance of the dressing room, okay? And now we're looking for somebody to unlock the door. And so that sweet little lady that showed up 45 minutes ago, she's nowhere to be found. Can't find her. So somebody else is there in the area. And I say, "Hey, ma'am, can you unlock the door from my wife?" And she says, "I'll be happy to. I'll take all of that from you and I'll help her." I just described the real estate industry to you. It's not how much effort you put in the beginning. It's being around when they need you. That true? It's not how much effort you put in the beginning. It's not the massive, wonderful marketing campaign that you did on Facebook, Insta, anywhere. It's being around when they need you, because the person who got the commission, the credit for that, is guess who? The second lady, because she was around, she was convenient. I'm describing to you what the real estate industry looks like. Isn't that true? People are like, "Okay, I decided to sell my house. We're going to move. I need somebody. What was that guy's name? Papa Roach? No, not Roach. Coach Roach? I don't know what it. The neighbors. Or my sister-in-law is getting her license. Oh, we'll just use, because she's available. She's around. So you have to work to build a reputation that's memorable. If you're not top of mind, you're out of mind. If you're not top of mind, you're out of mind. And what more than taking a doctor-patient approach to your business to put you way above everybody else, because they're not going to treat their clients this way. That makes sense? So the doctor-patient approach, I think we've initiated an idea or a concept that will help break through maybe some mental block. Get ourselves starting to think differently about our posture, our history, our representation skills, our value. Okay, that's a big one. I want you to think higher value, because a person who is more confident will make more baskets. That's a basketball coaching thing. If you're confident you're going to make it, you'll actually make more just because you believe in yourself. Honestly, if we just do 1 or 2 things that I've talked about, I really believe if I came back 30 days from now, your life would be better if you did them. So let's go a little bit further on this doctor-patient approach concept. The difference between a salesperson and a trusted advisor. Salesperson pushes products and services onto clients. Buy me as a realtor. Buy me as a realtor. Buy me, by my marketing, by my history, by my social media. Buy me, believe me, because of what I'm selling me. And I was just having a conversation that if we went into the emergency room and you felt like you had the symptoms of COVID, you felt nasty and hot and headaches and congested, and you felt flu-like and you barely open your eyes, you're mucus, everything, just nasty. It's gross. You go to the ER and you wait 30 minutes and you get to see the doctor, and the doctor says to you, so how do you feel? And you begin to describe it, and the doctor then says, oh man, you know what? I haven't been feeling that good either. So, man, I was like, my kids have probably brought it home. And you know what? I went to Vegas last week, and here's some of the things that we did. And you're sitting there going, why is he telling me everything about him? I'm the patient. I'm not feeling good. I'm sick. I need somebody with a license to practice to help me. That's what you do when you give so much information in the very beginning. You vomit all over them. You're like, blah, why should you use me? Blah, social media, blah, so Instagram, blah, history, blah. Our brokerage has sold, $1 million, $100 million last week in real estate. The patient doesn't want to know what kind of car the doctor drives right now. That's not important to him. But we make that person feel that way. We make our clients feel that way when we act other than a person who's licensed to practice real estate. Get that in your head. You're a person, a fiduciary licensed to practice real estate in this great state of Texas to handle the most expensive asset most people will ever own or transact with. Be that person that they're relying on. So the doctor concept is I believe valid. Trusted advisors, they educate, they listen, and offer tailored solutions. Okay? How trust leads to repeat business and referrals. Don't you think, we do this, don't we? We go someplace and they offer good service. Let's say a restaurant, good service. How many people would you tell if you went to a restaurant that provided great service and great food? How many people? Give me an actual number. How many people? How many? 2? 3? One person? Great service? Okay. How many people would you tell if you had horrible service and the food was really bad? How many people would you tell? You should tell everyone. You would tell everyone. All your followers, all your mom's followers, your sister's followers, your brother's followers. You'd hashtag really stinks, right? You would crucify that person. You would do those things. The power of social media and power of technology can work for you and bury you in your business, right? Or you can plant. Okay. Incidentally, I'll drop a hint now. At the end of this conversation, I am going to show you a QR code, and it's going to lead to my reviews page, and I'm going to ask for you to give me a 5-star review, okay, if you feel you should. So that's how the doctor feels. He's like, that's how the patient feels when the doctor is telling him all about himself. That's how you need to make sure you see yourself. That's what's happening in that process. Okay, here are the steps to implement this strategy. Active listening. This seems like an easy one, but it's not. It's not. Okay. I am a pretty good speaker, and I'm a worse listener, according to my wife early in our marriage. We married 32 years, 33 in June, and so she said, you don't listen to me. So I'm being real honest with you, right? They don't listen to me. It's like, well, I'm kind of that, fix-it person. So I just want to hear what you have to say so I can fix you. Right? Yeah, she laughed like that too. No, she didn't really laugh. She got mad. I laughed. I thought it was funny, but she didn't. So I listen to a certain degree until I can get my words out. I'm like, okay, right. So if you just, and my wife, man, she likes to take this route that looks like this. And I'm over here, and the destination is to communicate from here to there. And my wife likes to talk in these circles. She tell me all about flowers and butterflies that she saw today, and how she thinks she heard the birds, and not really sure if it was a red bird or a green bird. And I'm just sitting here wondering, where am I? I'm getting a little bit sleepy, honestly, because I like direct communication. That's my nature. That's my communication skills. That's my communication language. But she likes to tell her story before she gets to it. And so part of the problem that I have early on was that I wasn't exercising induced listening. I wasn't induced listening. I wasn't forcing myself not just to hear her words, but to feel her pain and suffering. And the end of this, and at the end of the journey, it wasn't me solving a problem. It was just me being present. You guys know anybody like this? Does anybody know in a room with majority women? I bet you do, right? I bet you know somebody like this. That induced listening is a skill. It's a real skill. I have no problems asking the questions to the person at Starbucks, HEB, at the conference or whatever. But to sit and actually listen enough to where I have the capacity to repeat everything that was said is very important, because in negotiations, we're going to go into the negotiation model here next. You need to be able to repeat what it is they said. Okay, so if they said certain words, you want to repeat those same words, because that's how you know you connected with them. Right? Make sense? All right, so asking the right questions, we talked about that. You heard me go through that analogy. Educating instead of selling. Well, I was afraid that going on the market would be a bad time because of the interest rates. Educate. Well, listen, let me tell you something. The interest rate will always be the interest rate. Your need to move into a home is absolutely more important than whatever the world is doing around you, because this is your world. Make sense? We need to do what's best for you at this moment and time. You may not have a choice. You may not think that this is the best time, but we don't have control over the global economy or the national economy or even the local economy. We don't have control over that. But do you want to come home to a house every day? Yes, I do, Rome Academy. I mean, it's just my goal, my dream. Okay, let's make your dream come true. It was her words, not mine. Let's make your dream come true. Make sense? Yes, makes sense? Everybody still with me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Prescribing solutions. Would you give me permission to speak into the areas that you're concerned with? Well, yeah, Rome, of course. I feel like, yeah, sure. Would you give me permission to be brutally honest with you? How do you like that question? Would you give me permission to be brutally honest with you? What am I trying to do besides get the yes? Somebody said it earlier. Would you give me permission to be brutally honest with you? I want to ask that in the beginning. I want to know, how deep is this relationship? Are we like up here, or are we growing deeper into this relationship? Do you trust me? Will you let me hold your hand? Will you let me give you a hug? Whatever it is, right? Whatever your love language, your communication is like. I'm asking a very intentional question. Would you give me the ability, would you allow me to be brutally honest with you? And of course, they're going to say yes, because that's an uncomfortable way to say no. I've never got anybody say no. No. So you want me to lie to you? Do you want me to lie to you? Do you want me to just tell you everything you need to hear? You think you want to hear? Or will you give me permission to be brutally honest with you? I'm asking to connect with you at a level that allows me to really be your fiduciary and really look after you, because I have a license to practice real estate. And this is the most expensive asset you'll ever buy in your life. And I treat this the same way a doctor treats his patients and a lawyer treats his clients. So would you give me the ability to speak to you honestly? You hear my voice fluctuations. I've said it a number of times for us. I'm doing this on purpose. I'm also doing this because I want to overcome the objection. Any objection. I was like, well, we're going to list your house for $399. I thought it was at least worth $500,000. No, but I'm not, don't do that. But what is it? I'll say, hey, Rebecca, remember you told me that you gave me the permission to speak and be brutally honest with you, right? I said, there's two things that we do when we put a house on the market. We put a house on the market to help the other guy sell who is properly priced, or we put it on the market to sell your home. Which one do you want to be? We could put it for $500. Well, she won. Go for $1 million. I mean, I want to put that on my listing. Look at Papa Roach is selling $1 million home in this neighborhood that don't even have 1,100 square feet, right? It doesn't matter what we're doing, but we're trying to overcome an objection. If you give me permission, that means I have a heart knowledge that's connecting with your heart knowledge, saying that Rome is always going to say what's best for me, what I need to hear. Now, it sounds a lot better if I ask for permission first before just telling them that, oh my gosh, $500,000, you're crazy. They're never going to sell for that. $399 was generous. I was actually thinking $375, but I knew you were going to, right? You think this, but you're trying to craft a pathway that doesn't exist. You're trying to create something for somebody in a route to get a win, and that's the wrong way to do it. Honesty is always best. So if I ask you if I can be honest with you, then I'm going to be honest with you. Listen, if we list this house for $500,000, I will tell you what's going to happen. Every house that's fair market value priced in this neighborhood will sell way before yours. You're helping the other people sell their home by doing that. That's not what we're on the market for, is it? Another question. So I'm asking questions. Notice I have never actually made a statement. I've never ever told my client anything. They're all questions. They're all questions. Why? Because I need them to give me the right answer. So I might ask a few more questions. I might ask a few more questions. Okay. Prescribing solutions, follow-up and continued care. Shifting your mindset narrative. So we're shifting because sometimes we're not clear, we're not confident. We have the need to be mentally present, and our mental fitness is important. And so we want to do this in a way that is helpful. Okay, reframing client conversations from a pitch to a diagnosis. Hey, I just want to tell you, I have diagnosed your home's status in the marketplace by observing every other area comp that has sold, the amount of time it has taken to sell, the actual value, the square footage that is sold, and any concessions that came along with it. I have diagnosed all of that for you. And come on, guys, realtors rock, yo. This is where you say, yes, because I am licensed to practice real estate and I'm handling, as your fiduciary, the most expensive asset you will ever buy. Right? That's a different way.
The last thing that you said actual value, square footage, and then you said
I don't remember.
the additional, I guess, whatever else that they've done to the house?
Any concessions that came along with the house. Yes. Sorry, sometimes I just kind of throw it out there. All right, so I have now changed. Did that sound like a pitch? Or did that sound like somebody who's halfway intelligent bringing some real content to that person's life? Because this is a life-changing event. Selling a home, buying a home, life-changing event, right? Does that sound like a diagnosis? Doesn't sound like a pitch? Doesn't sound like a used car salesman? Okay? I mean, when's the last time you bought a Camry and somebody said, oh, I have diagnosed the number of Camrys that are out there with the V6 versus the V4, and no, nobody does that. Man, it's like, what? No, you want this car or not? Do you want the car or not? Because if you don't, we'll go look for another one. If you don't want this one, I'll help you find another one. That's guys, we have really taken our industry and pushed it in the ground. We have really buried ourselves by exercising our strategies this way. We need to come alive again. We need to become professionals again. I would love for somebody to wear a stethoscope when coming listening. I'm just going to take your heart rate a little bit, make sure you have a pulse, because what I'm about to tell you is going to rock your world. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be great. I'll take your blood pressure now because you might just pass out after all this great information you're going to get, right? All right, use storytelling, case scenario. Okay, I did this. This is a wonderful tool in telling a story of your past clients. Okay, most people are like, well, I don't know if I can tell a story like you can. Well, let me tell you something. Take your past clients' examples and say, hey, I just want to tell you, don't tell them that you sold, $15 million of real estate in the last, 4 weeks. Tell them, hey, I had this client I recently worked with. Her name was Andrea, and she really wasn't sure that she was really wanting to sell. So I asked her a bunch of questions, kind of like the questions I'm asking you. And what it came down to is that Andrea was really afraid to make this move because she no longer has her husband, because her husband died of colon cancer. And she was afraid to make this move because she didn't have anybody to bounce the advice off of. Now, Rebecca, you don't have that problem, do you? Or are you feeling a little bit nervous about this process? Oh, Rome, I'm so glad you talked about that. I'm terrified. I'm not sure if I should do this or not. How did I get to the truth? by using a story of how the truth came out of somebody else. You want the truth from somebody? Okay, you want somebody we have a situation where somebody said, hey, I want you to list my lot, but really what they're trying to do is sell the lot by themselves, so they're trying to plug you for information. You can tell stories. You can say, hey, I just remember this story when I was working with a client, and I spent a lot of time providing them with data and information, material facts about the market. And at the end of the day, that person wound up trying to sell the property by themselves, or for sale by owner kind of thing. You wouldn't know anybody that want to do that, would you? You diffuse the client before they can, because you're using a story to do that. Okay, powerful. They're also called word pictures. Word pictures. That's why it's so important. When I was asking Rebecca to write down your comments, I wanted your actual words, because I want to use these words, because these are the words that are important to you. So in our conversation today, I'm trying to use as many of your words as possible. So that way I'm not making up this theory or this practice. I'm sharpening the tool with you by unpacking the things that really matter to you. Make sense? Because when you're a first generation entrepreneur and you're coming here to not only prove that you can do it here in this great country, but prove to yourself that it was worth all the risk, the heartache, the ridicule from the family who said, no, you can't do that. It's going to be terrible. Why don't you just get a real job? Why don't you get a regular job? What are you doing throwing yourself out there in the middle? Don't you know you have kids? I thought I taught you to be more responsible than that. So nobody's in this room is hearing what's going on in your mind, but I'm using your words because I want to tell a story of how all of those things can be quieted if you choose to make the right decisions. Make sense? So was that any part of your story too? Is that really? Okay. Okay, avoiding pressure tactics and focusing on value-based advising. Did I seem at all to be a high-pressure person? Would you be uncomfortable with me in your kitchen having a conversation about your real estate? Be honest. Would you feel uncomfortable with me?
I would just sign the contract.
You would have just signed the contract. I'm going to sell your house. And that is because my goal was to not just to win in real estate, but again, I'm talking about this from the heart knowledge. My goal was to have heart knowledge and to connect with you, and the only way I can do that is by asking enough questions. So all these things I'm doing, listen, this isn't shady, fady marketing, anything. This is good old-fashioned human being stuff. This is how humans work. People who have a heart, people who have relationships, people who have real problems, financial problems, medical problems, physical problems, emotional problems, relational problems. These are real people you're dealing with, and they invite you into their home to have a conversation because you have a license to practice real estate, and you will be a fiduciary for them, handling the most expensive real estate asset investment that they will ever do, ever. You are a very important person. You should get a Christmas card from them. You should be invited to their birthday party. You should be invited to the wedding. You should be invited to margaritas. I mean, you should, because you play such a significant role in their lives. We got to go back to doing business in real estate this way. Otherwise, you're going to bury yourself. You're going to bury your business in that regard. Let's get into the law of the listing. The law of the listing says people cannot say no to their goals and what they value. This is when I say it's a law, it's not a good idea. It is a gravity. If I throw a ball up in the air, it's going to come down. That's a law of gravity. This is the law of the listing. The law of the listing. People cannot say no to their goals and what they value. They cannot say goal. So if I asked you what your goals were, to be happy, to have stability, to be able to provide for your loved ones, to be a successful first-generation entrepreneur, to have financial freedom, proving that I can do it. So this would be an example of me coming over and saying, well, Dina, if I could help you to be happy and have stability in your life, recognizing that you're a first-generation family members coming over here, really knocking it down in the entrepreneurial space, with the financial freedom that you have and having proved that you can do it, wouldn't it be worth you and I working together to get this done? What would she say? What would she say? Come on, guys.
Yeah.
What is she saying yes to? She's saying yes to her own words. I'm teaching you to get you to use her words because she's not going to say no. Wait a minute. Well, Danny, you're going to say no? I thought you said you wanted to be happy, that you wanted to have stability. I say if we could list your home in a way that would make you happy and give you stability and ultimately provide you with the ability to provide for your loved ones, being a first generation entrepreneur who's really knocking it down and having the financial freedom that you have, having proved that you can do it, wouldn't it make sense that you and I, if I could do that for you, wouldn't it make sense that you and I work together?
Yep. Yes.
Who in the world is going to say no? They can't say no to their own answers. That's the listing. That's the law of the listing. People cannot say no to their goals and what they value. Those are not Rome's goals. Those are not Rome's words. Those are Waldina's words. That's why I use them. That's why it's important to listen, to be, right? Inducive listener. Got to listen. If you don't capture their words, you're putting your own words out there. Say, my words are, hey, Waldina, wouldn't it be cool if you and I work together? We can hang out, talk, chat. I'll send you messages, pictures, keep you updated on things that are happening. I'll send you a weekly report every once in a while. And maybe I'll send you an Excel spreadsheet with some colors on it indicating who I think is serious and who's not. Okay, I'm providing material information, but none of those words are hers. And Waldina's next comment will be, I need to think about it. I need to think about it. If I do what I'm telling you to do, in 30 days, your life will be better. If you do what I'm telling you to do, if you do it the way I just described it, use your own words, fill in blank, don't listen, you're going to get people to say, I need to think about it. I'm going to interview 2 or 3 other agents. I was like, what? Nobody's ever told me that. They've told me that I've got to call 2 or 3 other agents and tell them not to come anymore. They don't need to come. Because wouldn't it be worth you and I working together if we could do this in a way that would make you happy, bring stability, able to provide for your loved ones in this process, recognizing that you're a first-generation entrepreneur who's really knocking it down with your financial freedom that you've obtained, having proved to you and to everybody else that you can do it. If we could do this that way, wouldn't it be worth you and I working together? She can't say no to her own. So here it is. Take a picture. Law of the listing. Here's your script. If there was a way for you to have goal, I'll name some goals that she used so that you could have blank value, would that be worth us working together? This is something that will guarantee, law of the listing now, it's a guarantee. Nobody could ever say no because it's their words. They cannot say no to themselves. If they said no, it's because you didn't articulate it correctly. You got to say it again. Let me just make sure I understand what you just said. You told me that we needed to do this in a way that would make you happy, bring stability, able to provide for your loved ones, because as a first generation entrepreneur, you're really knocking it dead with the financial freedom you've achieved. You've proved it to yourself and everybody else that you can do this. Wouldn't it be worth you and I working together? And then that's when you ask for the sale, right? Remember, I've never told her what to do. Waldina, I want you to sign my listing agreement. Why? Why? Because I'm a realtor. Because I'm a nice guy. I kind of smell pretty good. No, none of that stuff. Nobody cares about that. You're going to get them to say yes because you're going to use their words. Here are their words. Okay, what are goals from the homeowner? I'm giving you the answers for speed dial purposes. What are goals that homeowners have? This is the number 1 and 2 goals people talk about, right? What is it? Somebody read it out loud. And what else? Okay, isn't that what they want? Isn't that the goal? So here's the good news. That's the goal. I know you're thinking, well, there's still more. I like how you're nodding your head, like, there might be more. There is more. This is what they value in the process of selling their home. The goal of selling the home, let's not make any mistake, is to sell the home. If you don't sell the home, you didn't sell the home. Nobody gets what they want out of the transaction. There must be a transaction. So as your coach, Papa Coach is telling you, listen, I want you to shoot the ball in a way that you make the basket. So recognize the goal. Go back again. The goal, maximize profit, make sure you do your job, get the right information so that you can provide them with the information they need. Okay? Speed of time of the sale. That's like, okay, look, what is the timetable here? So the client tells you, listen, we're going to move to Denver, Colorado in June. When should we list? That's a good question. That's a real scenario I got from somebody. Who would say now? Now? To February, what's the date? February 16, 17, something like that? You got to be out by June. We have to move at June, on June. So if you say now, that's great. But you also have to come back with, well, what are we going to do if I sell it in 30 days? Is it a sell lease back? So now you have to educate them more. You got to go back a few more slides and say, let me share some additional information about what you would need to do if we sold your home in 30 days. We need to get a seller lease back. If they say no, then it's a no. That means that house cannot be sold. Or you're going to move into an apartment, or you're going to move to Colorado, or are any of these options good for you? Because remember, I'm your doctor, you're the patient. I'm asking you what the best way to do this is. That make sense? Okay, so that's the goal. Here is the value. So you can answer the question by using the sheets I have up there, or you can use these. Hopefully you're taking pictures of these. What values do homeowners have? Look, and a lot of that happens to be the same stuff that you guys put up there. Smooth, stress-free, strong marketing exposure. Okay, you know how easy it is to look at somebody nowadays. You get their name, you go to the social media outlets and see what they're all about. Okay, right? That's why it's so important. Make sure you have good stuff out there. Don't be doing stupid stuff. There's people I know doing stupid stuff all the time, and they don't know their clients are looking at that information. They are. Okay, everybody's looking at it. Accurate home valuation and market knowledge. Be the expert. You never had your doctor say, well, I think this medication will work. What are you talking about? You know, is it going to work? Do I take that in a pill? Are you going to give me a shot? Is it up here? Is it down here? What? And you're like, no, I don't need you to be uncertain. So this is where the measure of your market knowledge really is. Okay, law of negotiation. Bear with me, folks. I'll give it to you fast, but you can take pictures. Laws of negotiation. I want to help you negotiate. Okay, let's talk about them. Law of preparation is the first one. Best negotiations win before they start by researching, setting clear goals, and understanding their leverage. Preparation, okay? When I asked Rebecca if she would give me permission to be brutally honest with her, I said that in the way I said it, brutally honest. May I have permission to be brutally honest with you? I could have said it, would you give me permission to be honest with you? Sounds timid. It sounds like I'm not even sure. I mean, no. Listen, Rebecca, would you give me permission to be brutally honest with you? And I'm gonna look her in the eyes. It's gonna be a hard thing. It's gonna be like, hey, I feel like we're connecting here. You're gonna give me that? Are you gonna award me that treasure? Okay, because in the negotiation, I am preparing myself to overcome objections of an unreasonable client. Has anybody ever had an unreasonable client to work with? Has anybody ever had a reasonable client to work with? Right? They're always unreasonable to some degree. So I'm already diffusing that because my negotiation tells me that I'm going to already overcome that objection. She's going to say, oh, $500,000 for that house. When I said $399, I want to say, hey, Rebecca, remember when you said I could be brutally honest with you, right? I said, that's kind of crazy. I mean, that's not like kind of crazy. That's like really crazy. Does that sound too tough? No, because if we have connection, or maybe her language was different. Maybe she would have said, outlandish, or maybe she would have said doubtful. Maybe she used that word. I might resurface that. If I heard her say that word earlier, I would have said, yep, you know what, 500, I understand it. Doubtful, your word, doubtful. Remember when you said I could be honest? So I'm preparing myself. Everything I do in the form of asking questions is preparation for the negotiation. I will have a treasure chest of words. Why did I start this coaching session capturing your words? Because I want to be relevant in this conversation. I told you I don't want to be another title company or another somebody selling home warranties and whatever, coming in here and talk to you guys like I don't know what I'm doing. Listen, I understand how hard it is. I started with that. This is very hard business right now. If you don't start here and you don't do the things that I'm telling you, life won't be better. But if you start doing this and you start doing the things I'm telling you here, life will be better in 30 days. Life will be better in 30 days. That's it. Do the work here. The answer isn't to go get a job. The answer is to plant, not bury. Okay? Here's the next one. The law of information. The person with the most relevant information has the advantage. This is where you rely on relevant information. Don't get all your information from social media. Go to HAR. Get the data. What is really happening? How many homes have sold in the area? What is the percentage of it being down? Some markets that I've been in have been down 66% in some regards. 66%. I asked some agents and some brokerages, how you doing? You're down 75%. I met with a brokerage that is from Honolulu. She was down, they have an office in San Francisco and in Honolulu. They were down 95%. I'm like, dude, like 95%, that's like 100%. I mean, that's like everything. It's just like, exactly, right? We're not selling squat. I'm like, oh my gosh, the market is deadly. It's tough. It's difficult. So when somebody doesn't sell and those people bury their business, guess what? I'm looking at the fiduciaries that are left. These are the doctors that have left, that have stayed, have remained. And if you do the things I'm telling you, life will be better in 30 days. If you do the things I'm telling you, life will be better in 30 days. I have been through, I know of markets that are just dreadful. I also believe, by the way, since I'm talking about San Francisco, I'm really curious to see what happens if we get an influx of people from California because of these fires. It's a horrible thing with their families and people losing their homes, acreages, and all those things are gone. I'm wondering if we get there's a tick up from people who are doing this. So I'm asking people to kind of keep tabs of that. So when I come again, talk about it. I'd love to know if we're seeing the natural migration, because those are different kinds. Can you imagine being the consultant or the real estate consultant for that person who all they have to sell is their lot, the home burned down, and then they couldn't get fire insurance because they didn't have it available or whatever. Now we're going to sell it for land value. And there's so much land available because it's all charred up and burnt. So, what they thought they could do. It used to be, you'd love to get that call from a person from California because they're like, hey, I'm going to sell a shack. I got $2 million. What can I buy here? I'm like, what? $2 million? You can buy anything you want, right? But now, that's not the case. So you see how life isn't always great, even for the people in California who thought they had all that equity built up. So imagine now, more than ever, being that doctor-patient type of realtor instead of the fast used car salesman to talk to these people, because those are real heart issues. Those are real challenges they're facing. So I'm wondering if we see Houston would be a great market for people to come and do that, right? So maybe that's some of your marketing efforts should be, we love California or something. I don't know. Okay, 3, the law of first offer. In my conversation with Waldina about that, I ended with, wouldn't it make sense for us to do this together? I just asked for the sale. Okay, I made that offer. But I made the offer in the form of a question because I used her words, which I know she can't say no to. Wouldn't it make sense for me to list your home because you're going to feel happy, stable, blah, 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 and value, goals and values? Wouldn't it make sense for us to work together? She says yes. I'll say, great. is this a good email so I can send you the DocuSign so we can go ahead and take care of this paperwork process now, right? So in the law of negotiation, be first. Don't let that person come in. You know what happens? You get in there and say, so what do you charge to? What do you charge? You get that question? Does that make you feel uncomfortable when a client says, what do you charge, Rebecca, to sell my house? So what's your fee? It's like they say, like suddenly, like the devil came out of the face or something. You know, like scary. Like, whoa, what's your charge? Oh, it's okay. Don't worry about it. It's 10%. No, I'm just kidding. See, it wasn't so bad, was it? I said, I charge a fee, a wage. I like to tell you this way. I love to give you $1 million service for $500,000, if that's what we're going to list your house for. Let me say that again. I love to give you $1 million service for $500,000. I'm referring to a house that's actually worth $500,000, not the one that's worth $399. So if I were going to sell the $399, I would say I charge a fee where I give you $800,000 for $400,000 worth of real estate value. What am I doing? What am I doing? I am maintaining value. Maintaining value. I met a waiter that I talked to about this at one time, and he was so good, man. Oh, he's so good. And the restaurant wasn't like a fancy one where you would like, you know, you're not coming out of there a couple $100. It's a decent one, something like a Roadhouse steakhouse. Good, but super. This guy was so good. I was like, man. I said, you're so good. I said, did they pay you well here? He goes, well, you know, it's mostly tips. I said, do you get tipped well here? He goes, well, you know, sometimes, but not that often. I said, you know, I see you in a place where the expectation of the customer is really high, because that person generally has a pocketbook that's willing to reward by being generous. So I see you, you know, like a fine steakhouse kind of place and this and that. And I said, you should do that. And he said, well, maybe think about it. But I was kind of, you know, I don't come from that. He was dumbing himself down. You say, I don't come from that background. I don't eat at restaurants like that. I don't drive a nice car. I don't have nice clothes. I said, what are you talking about? I said, your spirit, your personality is beautiful. I said, I think you're awesome. I said, I would guess to say, if you were to put yourself in that environment, people would see you. People like me would see that value, and they would reward you generously.